Hey, everybody. Welcome to OpenLab. Hey,
Hi,
Kim.
everyone.
Good to see you as always. So, wherever you're watching us from, either Facebook or YouTube, make sure you put a comment in the comments field so we can see you're there. You'll automatically be entered into the swag giveaway at the end of the show. So, you want to make sure you get your name in for that. So, how's it going today, Kim?
Not too bad. How are you, Jeff?
Doing good. Yeah.
Yeah. You look a little, I don't know, a little parched, little dehydrated, maybe, kind of like, after our buddy Wade Garrett goes for a ride on his motorcycle. I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah. Yeah. I probably should hydrate a little bit,
You
which
should.
is fitting because now we have these fancy IL branded water bottles.
That's so cool.
So these will be in the swag bags. So that's a new item. So there
I
may be
love
some
that.
other surprises in as well. So
I see. I'm seeing that for the first time, too.
yeah, it's pretty
Look at that.
slick. It's
Yeah.
nice. Got the IL logo there.
Very
It's
nice.
insulated. It's got the screw top. It's yeah. I'm not a product demo person, so I was looking at it outside of the camera. It's like, well, that doesn't work very well. I need to bring it up. But
Hi, everybody.
everybody, thanks for joining
Thanks for
us.
joining us.
See you popping in there.
Yeah.
So today, pretty exciting. We have Patricio from Algo Más, and if I pronounce that wrong, Patricio, I apologize. But let's bring him on, and we're going to talk about something pretty cool. I don't think it happens very often. It's kind of a unique opportunity for those wanting to maybe branch out into the Mexico marketplace. So, Patricio, welcome.
Hey Kim, hi Jeff.
Hey, Patricio. Thanks so much for joining us.
You nailed my name just right. Your Spanish is very well. It's very good, as I can see.
I know, un poquito. There we go. That's about the extent of it, really. So. But you have a background in selling on Amazon, and so you've launched multi-million-dollar e-commerce companies along the way. But you also are doing something along the educational field, and but before and also in branding and bringing in connections to people that want to sell in the Mexico marketplace. But before we get into that, maybe I'll let Kim go ahead with a question she would like to ask you.
Yeah, I'm just curious, Patricio, if you could maybe just tell us a little bit about how you got started in e-commerce and how that led to the creation of Algo Más.
For sure. Well, as you probably know, I'm from Mexico, actually from Cancun, and so I grew up there. Went to college there in Mexico. And I started selling online and e-commerce in the Mexican marketplaces before even Amazon existed there. We have a huge dominant player, which is Mercado Libre, which is like still the biggest marketplace in Mexico. And I started a company there in e-commerce and an app. And so this was when I was in Mexico, and then a business opportunity came up. And that's how I got here to the U.S. I moved to Las Vegas, and on that same business, it brought me here to Cleveland, where I am now. And as soon as I got here, that business went south. It didn't work.
No.
Actually, one of those like bad partnerships, everything went wrong. And I ended up losing a lot of money, all my money really, and so I was in that position, in the exact same position as many other Amazon sellers, right? When you go through different experience and whatever background you have, I ended up what I think it is now the worst thing that happened to me. To go through that bad experience, but I knew at that point I ended up without a job, without money, and I knew about this great opportunity. I had been thinking about selling on Amazon for probably over a year at that point, right? But like many other people think like, well, I have like I have a job, I have another business, I have like a real thing. And so when I ended up just losing that business and my money, I had to do something. Actually, at one point, I was thinking about, well, maybe I'll just look for a job at a Starbucks. I had just married, and when we moved here to the U.S., so at one point, I needed to go back to Mexico and find a job and start over. And thankfully, my wife, because I didn't have a job, and my wife was here with me, she started selling on Amazon. We started doing arbitrage, right? Starting at the very bottom, like many others, starting doing arbitrage. We would go to movies and to watch the trailers, and we would know what was coming up and try to get buy those products when they were cheap. So that's how I started really selling on Amazon, just out of sheer necessity. I had to make money to pay my rent. So this was 7 years ago, and that really just started our journey in Amazon. And as we started growing, we went through the many lessons that you learn as a seller. We started doing we started with arbitrage, then we started bringing products from China and doing our private label, and that was a big lesson for us. Also, it cost a lot of money, teaches us a lot in learning the process, and we ended up finding a great opportunity in doing wholesale. And really, we grew our business, which today it's a big part of our business still, doing just reselling products, doing wholesale. That took us to working more closely with brands, offering services as an agency for many brands. You know how there are many brands right now that might not want to work with you. Well, we started just finding other ways to add value, offering services. That took us to our very first exclusive deal with a brand, and we grew from there. And me, like being from Mexico, I always knew that this was this would be at one point a good opportunity for me to take this back home. The one thing that you have here, right? So as like for me as a Mexican, I knew I had like a crystal ball being here in the US, working here. Because everything that happens here, it used to take 10 years to get to the Mexican market, right? Before like pre-internet. And right now it probably takes anywhere from a year to 2-3 years before it is a thing. Whatever it's working here, it's going to work there, right? And the gap just keeps shortening, but we still have a lag there from a trend, anything that's working here to take it there. So that's how we got into selling in Mexico. Amazon has been in Mexico for less than 5 years. But for example, one thing people don't know is that Amazon PPC wasn't available in Amazon Mexico up until like October 2020. So
that's pretty recent.
That's really recent. Yeah.
Sorry, 2019. So it wasn't really it wasn't an interesting marketplace to be in, because it was tiny. You couldn't advertise. So we've been following very closely the development of Amazon Mexico, and it has really just allowed us to be first movers in Mexico, whether it is applying the strategies that work here, or launching brands in Mexico, or taking brands from the US that are working, that we know will work. We have this crystal ball that I was talking about, and just launching them in Mexico. So we've really grown and diversified into other verticals, really from selling products on Amazon. So that's how I got here, where we are today with not only our own Amazon businesses. We manage we manage accounts for other companies. We represent companies, American companies in Mexico that want to sell in the Mexican market. And we have a consulting company, and with Algo Más, we teach other aspiring entrepreneurs to start an Amazon business and really have the right tools to be successful in the marketplace. And we are geared towards the Latino market, right, where there was really a big lack of opportunity and education and just opportunity for people that could really benefit from this knowledge. And so we that's something that we wanted to fix.
I hate that you had to go through that situation, but to be honest, that's kind of how I think a lot of Amazon sellers kind of get into selling, is situations very similar to yours. So it's like you speak their language. You've been through the rough spots, which is a great perspective to have when you're trying to show somebody how to get into the business and how to, like you're saying, ease into the Mexico marketplace. And so, like you mentioned, your education site, Algo Más Online, geared towards Latinos, but you're now focusing on the brand representation for U.S. sellers that want to break into the Mexico marketplace. So, and I think that's a big interest to a lot of sellers. It's like, they get the .com or U.S. marketplace down. Now it's like, well, how do I expand? I think that's a big learning curve, and you're kind of here to talk to us about that. Can you tell us more how that works?
And actually, and I mean, for, let's say, for your average US seller, or really, I mean, from anywhere you are, really, but if you're a US seller, maybe you wouldn't think of Mexico as your first obvious option, right? You have like UK, and you have Europe, a much larger
Canada
market. Canada, they speak English, right? The language barrier and the cultural barrier is just it's an easier market to get into, right? Then Mexico is a tiny market. It's probably the second to last Amazon marketplace. So it's growing. Actually, Mexico, Amazon e-commerce, the Mexico e-commerce ecosystem before COVID, Mexico was the largest e-commerce, the fastest growing market in the world, in the fastest growing region in the world, which is Latin America, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely a very fast growing marketplace. But the thing that I think many people don't take into account is that Mexico is both a really interesting marketplace to be in. It's very close. Mexico. It's 130 million people. There's really not a lot of competition, because the competition that is in Mexico is not as sophisticated as you find here in the U.S. Right? The sellers and just everything is more advanced here in the U.S. And the other thing is, if you go into Amazon Mexico right now and just search for like a top seller here in the US, and you'll find maybe half of the first page is you'll see those products that you're searching for, and then the rest are like just non-related or international sellers. So the competition really in Mexico hasn't even started, and I think it's because there's a lot of people that look out to other marketplaces first, like more obvious, like Canada and Europe, and forget that Mexico is like right across the border. It's if you're living in San Diego, it's like a 10-minute ride, right? So, or coming out of Atlanta, you can go to the 10 different industrial cities with factories and a lot of great products to find in a like 3-hour flight from out of Atlanta. So I think Mexico is very interesting for any Amazon seller that wants to grow and find a blue ocean, a market that is a blue ocean for any Amazon seller and for any brand. But also, it's a great place to source your products. And right now, as you probably know, there's a lot of people struggling. I'm one of them. If you're sourcing from China, you're having all sorts of problems from cost of the shipping costs and just the whole supply chain problems that they're having. You're having production delays and all sorts of things. And when you have a great opportunity here in Mexico, which is a great market, and I think I see a lot of Amazon sellers even like more excited about selling in India or Brazil. Even Brazil is just getting started than Mexico. Well, yeah, maybe Brazil and India are like much larger markets, but it's gonna be a lot tougher to get into those marketplaces when you could in paper, Mexico is a small market, yeah, but it's still a hell of a huge marketplace to be in and grab a piece of that marketplace. So I think it's an opportunity that a lot of people are missing.
So Patricio, if there was a seller out there who, anyone who was interested in breaking into the Mexico marketplace, what advantages would they have using Algo Más?
So one of the if you're a company that want to get into the Mexican marketplace and you want to sell in Mexico, one of the first things you're gonna find out is that building a business in Mexico, setting up a business in Mexico is not as nearly as easy as we have it here in the U.S. So if you're used to setting up a company in 2 weeks and or in a week and having a bank account in 2 or 3 weeks, that's not gonna happen. Like that's not even close to what's gonna happen in Mexico. It's gonna take months, and there's a lot of, and especially since almost 2 years now, we had a new president elected. That they changed a lot of laws and just made more difficult for foreigners to make business to do business in Mexico. So what happened is now you need to have to become a business in Mexico, you have to have another partner. It's a minimum of two partners in a Mexican partnership, and then there are additional taxes for foreign companies or foreigners doing business in Mexico. So it just got, let's say the barrier of entry got more complicated, and so doing it just directly as a foreign company is you're going to incur in additional costs, and it's going to take you a lot of time just before even setting up your business in Mexico to sell in Mexico. Because a lot of people say, well, I already sell in Mexico. I have the cross-border trade, the cross-border selling, and I can list my products in Mexico. Yeah, there's a lot of, if you go into Amazon right now, you'll see most listings are international sellers, and that's great. That's a great option for sure. But if you can have a domestic operation where you're selling FBA in Mexico, like how that works, you will have shorter delivery. You won't incur in the import fees that just make your product more expensive, and you will have a more competitive product to sell on the marketplace if you're selling FBA Mexico, right? So what we do, recognizing that the complexities of doing business in Mexico, which for me, like I am from Mexico, my whole family is in Mexico. I already have an infrastructure set up in Mexico. For me, it's not easy to bring those products, or it wasn't easy at first to set up my business in Mexico. So what we did is, recognizing those complexities, what we do is we offer our logistics, our infrastructure that it's already in place to import the product, to get it to our warehouses, to get it to Amazon FBA, to handle returns, and all that sort of thing, to have a local Amazon operation.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that does make a lot of sense, because even now, if you're selling or you're shipping things to the U.S. marketplaces from within the U.S., there's all these built-in delays and getting things listed. So anything you can do to shorten that time frame is a bonus, because you got to get the product listed before you can sell it. So
yeah. And then another interesting, just want to add just one thing, that you have to keep in mind that in Mexico, it's not the same case as it is here in the US, where Amazon is like the dominant player, and it really doesn't matter. Like, as long as you do well in Amazon, you can be only an Amazon exclusive brand, and you'll do great, right? So in Mexico, it's a lot more divided. There's still a bigger player than Amazon, that is Mercado Libre. That is like it's a biggest e-commerce marketplace in the whole Latin America. And then there's a lot of other marketplaces that are relevant in Mexico. One thing that happens in Mexico is that the retail, the brick and mortar space is dominated by only a few players, just a few very big conglomerates, right? So these companies learned their lesson from the American companies facing Amazon, and they invested a lot in preparing for Amazon. So they launched their own warehouse infrastructure, their own marketplaces. So today, and for many people, for the people that might be selling internationally in the UK, for example, Amazon is like the UK was probably like 10 years ago, where to be relevant, to build a brand, and to build volume, you need to be also in other marketplaces, not only Amazon. In many cases and in many categories, Amazon is not even in the top 3 marketplaces to be in. So if you're getting into Amazon and you want to build up your brand by getting into a very big market with not a lot of competition, you'll have to be in other marketplaces as well. So that's another important factor, that when you're considering getting into Mexico and building a brand and really taking advantage of that head start that you have right now before all the international sellers start looking, turning their heads into Mexico, which I think will happen within the next 2 years. As Europe becomes more saturated and Mexico grows even more, Amazon is investing a lot of money in Mexico, so that's going to happen definitely. So whoever starts now, whoever gets into the Mexican marketplace now, will have a head start against everybody else. But the only way of really realizing that head start is or taking advantage is to be on other marketplaces as well and building a brand in Mexico.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. As far as the products to sell, I'm assuming that you guys, your company, will kind of guide on the best products that are more suited to sell in the Mexico marketplace. Did you provide that kind of guidance as somebody signs up with you?
Yeah. So whenever we talk to a brand, so how our process is, our process starts with a phone call and an initial interview to just learn about the brand and your products, where you're selling, how much you're selling, and we do a market analysis where we'll look at your products and we'll find the best sales channels for that marketplace, right? Whether it is Amazon, whether it is Mercado Libre, or any of the other marketplaces, and we are in brick and mortar as well, like Mexico.
Oh, okay.
And it's same as all throughout Latin America. Brick and mortar, like the physical stores, did take a hit, but not even nearly as bad as it happened here in the US, because people are still buying like physical with cash in Mexico, right? So we are in brick and mortar. So we like to analyze the products and see if it's a good fit for the Mexican marketplace first, and then to find the right sales channels for a product, whether it is Amazon, some other product, and or maybe even physical retail.
Okay, cool. Patricio, well, you mentioned before how difficult it can be to, establish a new business in Mexico. As far as, a seller who's looking to get into some of the other marketplaces like Mexico, is there anything else like that they should be looking out for, that they just need to be aware of? Any best practices maybe that they should be doing, regardless of which marketplace it is?
So the first thing, and to me the most important and the most dangerous one of, for example, the Mexican market, and it's probably the same in some form or fashion for any other marketplace, is the fiscal cost, right? The taxes. So because and I see this all the time, talking with brands or companies that might already be selling in Mexico, and for example, they just passed, like very quietly, they passed a law at the beginning of the year, where they increased the taxes for any product sold online, right? So so what Amazon does is they increase the money they retain to pay those taxes, because the government will cover, like will go to the higher end of your range. They'll retain more money than they might need to cover all the taxes, and then you get to claim that money at the end of the year, right? But if you looking at your cash flow and your money coming back from Amazon, a lot of people that didn't know that this was going on, they just got a big surprise that they didn't get the money that they were expecting, and then that messed up all their cash flow and their projections, right? So the main thing I would say is really like hire a professional, talk to a for example, in Mexico it would be a fiscal attorney or an accountant that is knowledgeable and has experience with e-commerce. If you can find somebody experienced with Amazon sellers, that's great. If not e-commerce, somebody that really knows this specific business and find out everything there is to know about how much it's going to cost you with taxes, or if you're a foreigner, for example, in Mexico, you're going to pay more taxes when you want to get that money out of the country. If you want to wire that money out of to a U.S. bank account, you will have an additional retainer. So I think those are that would be the most important thing. And then the other that I would say, which is important, and you see this is a very common mistake that we see in Amazon US listed US listings that are translated to Spanish, right? Because maybe you went to Fiverr or any of these places and hired a translator. So you really want to understand the culture, understand the consumption habits, how people consume the product, how is it used, who is it for. Don't go with just hire a Spanish translator and launch your products there. Really try to understand the cultural aspect of who your buyer is going to be, because it works very different as to what you're used to as a US seller. So that's the other thing that I would say. A big mistake we see is people just think that it's as easy as it is in the US. Well, you just do a good keyword research and build your title and your bullets and your description, good picture, and launch it, do PPC, and that's that, right?
Yeah.
It's not even like that anymore here in the US, but people are still doing that in Mexico, and it's sort of working because there is not a lot of competition, so it will work, but those for us doing business in Amazon Mexico, when we find this type of products and they're working, it's an easy prey for us, right? So we know we'll go and compete and really take all of those sales because they're not doing it right. So it just leaves you're opening just a door for a competitor, or you're just increasing your risk.
I think that's such great advice. I think a lot of people, especially if you're a US seller, wherever you're selling, you tend to, if you don't really think about, if you're changing marketplaces, like you said, different culture, different region, sometimes you would just assume it's going to be just like it is, wherever you're currently selling. So I think that's a great piece of advice.
And for example, that happened to me in Spain. Right, so I speak Spanish. So Spain it's a bigger marketplace a bigger market than Mexico. So this was probably like 4 years ago. We got into the Spanish marketplace with a coffee and just coffee related products like French press and that type of thing, and it worked out. I mean, it worked great for a number of months, maybe even like over a year. It worked really great. But it got to a point where we suddenly started seeing a decrease in the sales, and that business really went away because we got a lot more competition, but we never really prepared our products and our business over there to withstand the competition when it got to the point, right? We could have, if we had done it right, we ended up bringing a local partner, and that ended up working out in the end, not with those products, with different products. But if we had thought of that from the beginning, we probably would have built a big brand, a bigger business in Spain, if we had prepared the business for the local consumer, rather than just launching anything, the same thing we were doing here. It worked for a while, but probably today we would have a larger business. We could have sold that, right? We could have done so many things if we had prepared. Yeah.
When you mentioned the culture and the translation, my first thought was immediately, I think we've all seen those tattoos that are maybe in Japanese, and they're supposed to say one thing, but they say something totally different. Yeah. And you can see that too in Amazon.com. You can see those listings, and right away when you see them. That,
as soon as you see,
this is a company in China that's trying to. Yep. And so I think you really want to avoid that, because you want your listings to be professional. And how do you do that? Well, you get a company like yours that can actually, you can trust to provide the correct translation, first of all. And then also, like you said, with the culture and also you mentioned the laws changing. I mean, that's something your company will also do, right? I mean, you're going to keep up to date on those, obviously, because part of your company is there.
So really what we do to avoid just all of that, what we do is we're already set up in Mexico. We have we do the import, we do the logistics, the warehouse. We pretty much do everything. What we do is we sell the products through our stores, and so we basically buy FOB here. Or if you're importing from China, we can buy FOB in China your product and do an import directly to Mexico. So we'll buy the product from you. We'll pay you up front, and we take care of all the rest. We'll just increase your volume, and we'll take care of all the risks. There are many, for example, for beauty products, and especially for example, supplements. The Mexican law is a lot more strict for supplements than it is here in the US. So you need to have a special license. Your company has to have a special license to be able to sell supplements. The product needs to be, each SKU needs to have a specific license. So all of those things, instead of jumping those hoops with your company, and it's going to take months and it's going to take a lot of money, and you're going to be learning, and you're going to be just distracted with a lot of red tape. We already have that. We already did that. So we'll practically become your distributor for the Mexican marketplace.
Okay. Keeps you from hitting those pitfalls for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny that you mentioned supplements, because I was thinking that too, like that there's really not a lot of regulation in the US.
It's crazy.
You can put anything out in the market and say it does anything, and there's not a lot of guidelines. So, I mean, if sellers want to work with you, what are the requirements? Are there any?
So it depends on the type of product. There are products that, like I said, are more heavily regulated or outlawed in Mexico. So it's going to depend on the type of product. But basically, for most sellers and most brands, as long as you're already selling your product here in the US, we can work with you. If your brand is selling over $5,000 a month, we'll work with you, and we'll walk you through the process and analysis, market analysis, to see if the product is a good fit, and if it is, then we can launch your products in Mexico.
Okay, great. And just out of curiosity, are there any items you can think of off the top of your head that are actually outlawed in Mexico that might surprise someone here?
Like anything related to guns, for example. Not that you can sell guns, but there are a lot of like accessories or some type of things that are outlawed in Mexico. You're not allowed to have or to sell. Like some CBD and not CBD but hemp products. Depending on some certain substances or elements in your product might be regulated, and you might need additional licenses for that.
Okay.
So if I know that there are some companies that I've seen, they offer trips. They set up trips to different locations, like China's one that comes up where they take a group and kind of show them how it all works down there. Is that something that your company also provides, or do you find that even necessary?
So yeah, absolutely. So now talking on the sourcing end of the business, I mean we don't offer any. I know exactly what you mean. I've seen those organized trips to the
Right.
Canton Fair, and they take you to factories. We do that with the companies we're working with. So, but it all begins really with knowing how to navigate the relationship with your suppliers in Mexico, because really I mean, one important thing to know is that China is the best place to source your products for certain types of products, right? Mexico is not going to compete with China in price. You're not going to be able to source like your standard product cheaper than in China, even with it being so close, even with the North American trade agreement, even with all of that, you're not going to compete with China. So you need to know what type of product is better to source in Mexico. And the first thing there is that in Mexico, the most important thing for me as a seller is that working with Mexican factories, you can do a lot of things that you wouldn't even be able to think of doing with a Chinese factory unless you're buying a really big volume and you're spending a lot of money with them. For example, you'll be able to work with Mexican factories to customize your products for a lot less or lot smaller MOQ, for example. Mexican factories are used to working with US customers, usually larger companies that manufacture in Mexico. But you'll find, first of all, it's going to be a lot easier to communicate. You're more or less in the same time zone. Most of the companies will have somebody that speaks English very well, and you'll be able to communicate. You can take a flight and be anywhere in Mexico in a couple of hours. So those are important things. But then also many factories, many companies will be thrilled to have an American, a US customer. Most of these companies just have local customers, Mexican customers. So for them, just having the opportunity to enter the U.S. marketplace, they'll be happy to accommodate you and do things like I said, give you customize your product. You'll have access to some of to materials or things that you don't get in China, because right in China, a lot of the products are very similar. Most of right, you'll have the city that the area that manufactures, I don't know, desks, and they all get their injection molds from the same mold company, and so all the products look alike. All the materials are more or less the same, right? So everybody's looking at the same products to source and sell in Amazon. In Mexico, you'll find unique products, unique materials, the things that really differentiate your product, and you'll be able to source products not to compete in price, and not that we're not the race not to squeeze your margin. Rather, you'll be able to source differentiated product, better quality, not better quality, because China has all the qualities that exist, but you'll be able to find a differentiated product and charge a premium, and just let's say pursue a different strategy.
More about brand building than getting the cheapest margin you can.
Yeah, and you can try to find cheap products, and you can develop a relationship to get to a point where it's comparable, right? When you take into consideration everything. But I think, like many people don't know, for example, that a lot of Mexico, like the after petroleum, the Mexican economy depends on industry, right? And you have the big industries like car manufacturing and electronics. It's all of those are manufactured in Mexico. So it's big. There's big industry with qualified labor, and then that translates into medium and smaller factories. You'll be able to find really great product, differentiate your product, which is the most important thing to do if you want to be successful in Amazon today, rather than competing with price, because most of the times you're competing with your own factory in China, right? We've all seen that. So that the business has shifted towards differentiated product, value add products, and there's, I think, for US sellers, there's no place to better place to source right now with the situation that we have, the current situation. There's no better place to do it than in Mexico. Now you'll face a whole sort of different kind of not problems, but things you need to solve when you want to source from Mexico, right? If you go in with the expectation that it's going to be the same as it is with your with sourcing in China, with your relationship that you're currently having with your factory in China, you're going to find a lot of surprises there. But as long as you go in with the right expectations, with what type of product that you want to find and how to work with those suppliers, I think Amazon sellers would find a really big opportunity of growth, not only selling but also sourcing.
Great.
We do have a couple of questions in our comments there. I don't know if you can see those, Patricio.
You're right. I was looking at my private chat. Oh, yeah, I see them here.
So I was hesitant to, because I don't, I can't read Spanish. So
I was going to say,
I
see Miriam's question. Yep.
So is that something you can answer?
Yeah, for sure.
Let me go ahead and pop that in there. I was just hesitant to do it because I don't know what she was saying.
Yeah,
so.
Okay, so Miriam here lives in Mexico City, and she's gonna launch her first product in Amazon Mexico. Her supplier doesn't want to ship directly to Amazon warehouse, so she's asking about a prep center in Mexico. So we actually work. There's only a few, just a handful of prep centers in Mexico. We work with most of most of them, at least the ones we know and we know are good. So Miriam, if you want to get in touch with me, te puedo ayudar con el prep center. I'll help you. I'll direct you to the right person.
There you go, Miriam. And she has a second one there too. Was that all part of that?
She's asking about this important thing in Mexico. In Mexico, actually, Amazon allows you to take your product. To take your product to the Amazon warehouse, because Amazon has like one big warehouse in the Mexico City area. They now have three in different regions in the country. But there's very strict requirements, Miriam, that they ask you. But you are able to bring your product. Get in contact with us, and I'll help you with that.
Yeah, Miriam, if you look in the chat, I think you'll see the link to the site that Patricio is talking about.
Yeah.
Just scroll up a bit, and I can post it again if.
I can.
Right here.
Right. If I can. We can probably give the website, or is it okay if am I able to to post in the chat room?
Yeah, you bet. Feel free to post there too.
I think it only allows me to do private messages, but anyway, the contact information will be there. So,
And if you need, we can always reach out to Patricio for you. So you can always email support@inventorylab.com, and we can make sure your question, your contact info gets to him. So we can also do that. I mean, this also might bring up an interesting, we kind of went back and forth on this when we were thinking about having you on and stuff, and we're glad we did because you have a wealth of information. But with Inventory Lab, our products, we only work in the .com marketplace. And so North America marketplaces, Canada and Mexico, have been kind of on our radar for a while. And especially now with the, their North American fulfillment program, which is now called, I can't recall what it's called now. It's not remote fulfillment.
The cross-border, the remote selling.
Remote fulfillment, I think maybe, yeah. But our developers, we got word from them this week that hopefully in Q3 this year, we'll be able to pull that information from the North American marketplaces that include Canada and Mexico, so that information will then be synced in automatically, like the .com information. I don't know to the extent initially how much is going to be synced in, but they may even have it earlier than Q3. So make sure you watch for those announcements in your email and also in the app.
That's great news, Jeff, because we use Inventory Lab here in the US, and in Mexico we've had to come up with all sorts of creative ways to do it. But that's great news. That's great news to me too.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any questions for Patricio? Feel free to post the comments if you do.
And let me just add one other thing to selling in the Amazon marketplace, and that is that one thing that it's happened to us in our own products. There's a lot of, if you're selling a product in the US marketplace, just search for your products in Mexico, because in many cases you'll find that there are people. We have a huge border. We have big population that lives in our borders. So what people will do is they'll list your product in the Mexican marketplace, and they'll go to the US, buy your product, whether it is buy from Amazon or if you're selling it in stores as well, and they'll cross the border with your product and sell it there. They're sort of doing what is it called? They're like doing arbitrage with your own product. So in many cases, and that has happened to many of the brands that we work with. It becomes a problem where they now trying to get rid of those unauthorized sellers that they're bringing products across the border. But that's, I think, one important thing that I was saying before. There's a big need for or opportunity for US brands that you might already have a market in Mexico and you're not even aware of, or your competition. So I think it's something worth just searching for and thinking about if you have a brand in the US and you're doing well on Amazon.com.
I didn't even think about that happening. Somebody buying your product on Amazon.com and then selling it in MX.
That happens.
But I'm sure it does. I didn't.
It's so easy to get product, right? It's like like somebody that lives in the border, you can come and go. Like there's people that live in the border, they go and get haircuts, and now with it's crazy, but gasoline is cheaper now in the US than it is in Mexico many days. So people will just come and charge gas or go to Walgreens, and they just, people that live there just can might cross 6 times a day the border. So it's there's a lot of people doing that, and they're doing market research for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How does the exchange rate work into this? Is that something that a seller would have to really monitor when doing something like this, or is that really a concern?
I mean, it's very volatile, but I think because there is such a lack for some products, the margins there are big enough for people to do that. And of course, Amazon is cracking down on those practices like they always do.
Right.
But there's as long as people want to buy, there's people that will sell.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And looks like Mara had some questions.
Yeah, she, this may be in her follow-up question. She wants to start selling products on Amazon, and what do I have to do first? And I think you do have, Patricio, for your company, you have some minimum requirements. Is that right? When you're going to deal with somebody that's selling on Amazon?
Yeah, so we have two ways that we can help you. We have an online course. It's in Spanish. So if you want to learn how to sell on Amazon and get started, in this business, and then you can go to the algomasonline.com website, and you can go to that one as well, algomas.mx. And you'll find the course. But now, if you already are selling in Amazon US, and you have a brand and you want to expand your business into the Mexican marketplace, we can help you on that link. You can book a call with us, and we can help you launch your product in the US in case you already have a business and a product.
Okay, great. And thank you for the information too that we just popped in. If you're interested, and if you're interested in the course, but you don't speak Spanish, you can always translate the page right through your browser.
Well, actually, yeah, that URL that you're seeing there on the screen is in English.
Right.
You can book a call with us, and what is in Spanish is our course is in Spanish. So the Amazon course is in Spanish. All the rest is in English. We're here in the U.S. The bulk of our business is here in the U.S. as well. So if you get in contact with us, we'll be happy to help, and you will need to get your Spanish, practice your Spanish. Don't worry. If you want to, you can too.
No, I just wanted to ask you too, Patricio. I know that Algo Más in English means anything else. Does the choice of that does that have anything to do with your philosophy on being your own boss, trying doing what you can so you don't have to work for other people?
Like I was saying, I think to me the thing that really the thing that really changed our business when we understood that we needed to add value to the relationships that we had with our brands and with the products that we were selling. So everything we do, like I was saying with the product, right? If you're going to source products, then why go to China and buy the same thing as everybody else when you can source here and just improve on the product, have a differentiator? So the Algo Más is like do more, bring more value, and in order to be successful. Kind of, that's where it came from.
Gotcha. That's great.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. All right, well, let's give away some swag. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
So, swag bag winner 1. Of course, it'll include the fancy new water bottle among some other things. So, first winner, Ryan Cassidy.
All right.
Hi, Ryan.
All right, Ryan. So email support@inventorylab.com and send us your mailing address, and we'll get that to you. And then our other winner, Ernst Decker. You do the same. I recognize that name. I
do too.
Some emails about support tickets. So good to see you. And then for the $50 Amazon gift card, we have Desiree Morel.
All right. Congratulations.
Congrats. Yeah. Also email us, support@inventorylab.com, and tell us which email address you want us to send that to, and we'll get that to you as well. So, Patricio, is there any final thoughts or anything else we may not have asked you about as far as how this all works with your company and the kind of things, the advantages that you provide?
So I think we covered a lot. I would say the only thing I would say is whether you might be thinking about getting to Amazon and giving it a try, or whether you might already whether you already have an existing brand and a product and maybe considering other markets, don't let just don't. There's no time to waste because maybe looking at it from the outside is not as clear as I'm saying it, because I'm there, like I'm operating the Mexican marketplace. Most of our investment this year and focus has been and will be probably throughout next year in Amazon, in the Mexican marketplace, just because it's such a good opportunity. It's a low hanging fruit. It's there's a lot of growth to really to really have there. So don't waste a lot of time thinking about it. This opportunity, I think, as it is right now, it's not going to last forever. It's not going to last for long. We see a lot of international sellers coming on every day, especially from China. So if you move fast and you take advantage of the opportunity and the marketplace as it is now, you'll be able to grow to build a big business in the coming years.
That's
Great.
awesome.
That is
We did
awesome.
have. Let me just pop up Dave's question, and I can.
Yeah, I was just looking at
address
Dave's
that.
question. Yep.
Yeah. So does IL keep track of sales in Mexico or Canada if I set up NARF? And we don't, Dave, and that's because of the way Amazon sends us the information, because we normally sync from your settlements. But and they do it's a different type of report that they provide that information. But our developers are working on a way to be able to pull that information in. And so when I talked to them this week, they said probably sometime in Q3, but it may be as early as this quarter. So it may be just within the next month or two that we'll have something. So watch for that. Currently, if you do have something like that, or you have a sale there, you'd have to keep track of it manually. Your inventory is going to go down when you make the sale, and we'll sync over that information, but we won't know what happened to it. So then you'd have to manually adjust, like add in the income and add in the expenses, because Amazon doesn't provide that. So if you reach out to support, we can kind of give you the steps on how to keep track of that if you're signed up for that program. So at least your inventory alerts and stuff can be cleared.
Okay.
A good question there.
Oh, yeah. Maria is asking how to contact me. If you can send me an email, Maria, to info@algomasonline.com. That's my email. Or through that URL that you see there.
In the chat there.
Okay. And Patricio, I'm guessing that there's thank you for the email, but there's probably a link right on the page, right?
Yeah.
That says contact us or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Fantastic.
Well, I think that kind of wraps it up. We really appreciate you joining us today.
A lot of great information. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
A lot of stuff I didn't even think about.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about and to work on that subject. So yeah, Jeff, Kim, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Always welcome. Appreciate it.
All
right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This ends our OpenLab segment, but join us again in a couple weeks, every 2 weeks on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern. That's kind of the schedule we've kind of worked out. So,
yeah, it could change, once in a while, but right now that's pretty much what we're doing. So, and we appreciate everybody tuning in too.
You bet. All right. Have a good day, everybody.
All right. Take care.